stuff and just doing daily to look inside ourselves too and say, oh yeah, it's there, and that's really what it's all about. So as you know, we try and put a great emphasis on prayer within the Unity movement, and so there's a couple of different ways that we emphasize that. One way is with our prayer vessels. So if you like, after the service today, come up and put a prayer request in here. If there's something going on in your life or somebody else's life or just in the world, come up, put it in. What happens is we pray over it for a week, and then Simone, raise your hand. So Simone sends them back to Unity Village, and there they pray over your prayer requests for a month. So it's pretty cool. And then the second way we try and demonstrate our commitment to prayer within Unity is through our prayer chaplain program. So, could I have not just our two prayer chaplains for today, could I have all the people who attended the prayer chaplain program yesterday? Would they all stand? Yeah. I think it's easy for us to forget that that's just a huge kind of commitment to say, yeah, I'd like to be with people in prayer. So after the service today, we're going to have we're actually going to have four people on duty, and so one will be over here, one will be over here, one will be in the meditation room, and then one will be in the nursery. So good. So would you join me in an opening prayer? So first of all, even before we begin the prayer, I invite you to close your eyes and let's just breathe. And for the next hour or so, let's set aside all the situations and issues in our life and let's just choose to be here. Let's choose to open our hearts. Let's choose to open our eyes. And so, Spirit of God, we say thank you for this wonderful reminder of the grounds on which this church sits. And Spirit of God, we just say thank you for the way you constantly enrich our lives, for the way that you constantly bring us back home again. And all we have to do is look. All we have to do is ask. And so with all that, Spirit of God, we say thank you. And so it is. Namaste.
If you'd like to join us in singing one more time, we're going to sing Joy and Peace in My Heart.
Joy and peace in my life. everybody. Hello. I'm Tracy, and I'm the celebration assistant for today. We love it that you are all here on this beautiful Sunday. Welcome. Everybody is welcome here, wherever, whatever, whoever you are, whatever you might have been judged for in the past. We are an inclusive and affirming church. We bless people of all races, sexual orientations, color, political belief, or anything else that you or they may have felt judged for in the past. We welcome everybody who chooses to worship here. So today I have the honor of introducing our amazing musicians. We have the Unity Choir led by Julie Curteau. Thank you. It's amazing. Leanne Erilyn Moore on the keys. We have Jim Turner on bass, Dagan Williamson on the drums, and of course, a very small, not a booth, but we have Jim Sullenberger running all. Oh, and Todd Neal over here on the camera. So thank you everybody for getting the tech out into the field and blessing us with this amazing music. And thank you for everyone else who makes the Sunday service happen. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes, especially on a day like today. So thank you everyone who shows up early and stays late and cleans the church and does all the things all week long. So, do we have anybody here that is here for the first time? All right, we've got a first timer here. We have a welcome packet for you. Welcome. We're so glad that you joined us and hope that you have an amazing time. Also, welcome to those who might be streaming first time online. If Yay, we're so glad you're here. Click on the Connect with Us tab, and you can submit your contact information, a prayer request, or any other information by clicking on that Connect with Us tab. It's in the Synopsis tab on the Welcome streaming window. So, hopefully you all saw the announcement. No, nobody saw the announcements. There's no screen. Never mind. Okay. Hey, I have some announcements for you guys. Okay, so there is the Unity Center of Divine Love and Light Kickoff Summer Barbecue, and that's at the Spokane Unity. If you are planning on going, I have a little stack of printed out directions. So anybody who's planning on going, Dennis can deliver you some instructions. We don't want you to get lost on your way out there. So make sure you follow those instructions. I guess the GPS is not on your side on this one. Okay, so there is also a new group forming here, and it's called Overeaters Anonymous. OA is a community fostering support and recovering from compulsive eating and food behaviors. So this weekly is going to start on Saturday, July 6th, and it occurs every week from 10 to 11 a.m. Then all of you music and dance lovers, Susie Hicks is presenting a show called Dance to the Music, which features cultural dances from around the world. After the dance performance, there will be open dancing to music from the 1950s all the way up until present day. This family-friendly event takes place at Unity on Saturday, July 13th from 12 to 2. Admission is free, but donations will be accepted. Sounds like a fun time. Also, just a friendly reminder as you're out traveling and seeing all the beautiful things this summer, don't forget to bring some water back because we are going to have a Gathering of the Waters ceremony in September, and you'll be invited to join all of the water that you gather from all over the world together with everybody else's water that they've gathered. And this is a really beautiful ritual that we do in September. So bring your water. And if you enjoy gardening, consider maintaining one of our parking lot medians out front here. As a caretaker, you get to help maintain our landscape's beauty and appeal, and there are only 2 medians left. So check in with Geraldine to see which ones are available for adoption, and you can have some fun with that. We also have a book sale going on inside. Books are $1. So if you get cold or after the service, if you want to go in there and chat and look at the books, they are always new books being put out. So have a look at that. And let's see, we are now going to have a few minutes to meet and greet one another. So if y'all want to stand up and say hello to your neighbor, I will make some noise when it's time. Okay, is this working again? Good. Yay, you guys found your seats. Welcome back. Every Sunday, we have somebody from the congregation read us a blessing before the meditation. And today we have Bill Murphy, who is going to honor us with that reading. Here he comes. Thanks, Bill. There you go.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah, I love birds. They've been a joy to my life. In 1970, John Lennon gave us the song Instant Karma, We All Shine On. And John was onto something. He got it that was a basic principle of different religions as well as plain old common sense. Goes around, comes around. The law of karma. You reap what you sow. You can only harvest the crops you have planted. You get what you give. Want love? Then we need to give love. Want prosperity? Then we need to give to others. And would we like to be healed? Then we need to start helping and healing others. Let us give away the very things we want. And so it is. Namaste.
As we prepare for meditation, we'd like to have you join us in chanting, I release control.
So let's take a moment now and move into meditation. And let's just close our eyes. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And as we breathe in this time, just let that soft, gentle intake of air, let that breath move throughout our lungs and our heart and even throughout our mind. It is the Ruach of God, the breath of the Spirit of God. And what that breath does is that it reminds us to let go. It reminds us to let go of the ego. It reminds us to let the human consciousness, the human ego, take a step backwards. And for our hearts, our spiritual consciousness, our soul, to step forward. And we release control of each situation. Consciousness. It defies belief to let go just a little and substitute just a little of belief and faith in the Spirit of God. Breathing in and breathing out. And we feel that Spirit of God moving throughout our minds and throughout our hearts and throughout our bodies. And we let go of control. We let go of something that we were never really in charge of anyway. Let's take that note into the silence. Just be with it. Let's just be with the Ruach, the breath of God, where we release our egos in the silence. Spirit of God, you touch my heart, you touch my mind, you release my ego, you release the need for my human consciousness to be in charge. Instead, we just surrender to the rhythm, to the ebb and the flow of the Spirit of God. So we thank you. Thank you, God. So it is. Namaste. where an amazing had the telephone come in, and it reduced distances, didn't it? People that you might only family that maybe moved away, you might only talk to them a couple more times in your lifetime, and then suddenly those distances were reduced. The automobile came in 1886, and all of a sudden the distances between people they were reduced. And so it only made sense that a number of new thought movements would come into being too, where you would reduce the distance between you and the Spirit of God. You wouldn't necessarily need some go between. And they all seem to have one thing in common at their beginning. They all seem to start with a spectacular healing that nobody could really explain. And it just took place. I think a number of places would have said, when we are feeling sick or ill or injured, that's an appearance only. That's an illusion only. And they would have said that the real world is that we are children of the Spirit of God and that we're always whole and healed. But we forget. We get caught up in the illusion, we get caught up in the appearance. And isn't pain an incredible reminder of that physical reality, even though it's not the reality? So, one of the things I've mentioned a couple of times in this month long emphasis on healing and health is that it's not that people who are really into new thought, really into spirituality, it's not that they don't get sick, injured, or ill. That's not the point. Is how they react when it happens. And so, if you have some injury or illness or some malady, that doesn't mean that oh you're doomed. No, no. What it means is, how will I react to that particular kind of situation? So, just a little history. In 1879, Mary Baker Eddy started the Christian Science Church. And if you take a look at it, it was sort of interesting because they did a couple of fascinating things within the Christian movement. One, they had churches like most other denominations do, but they also established reading rooms. And I see a lot of head nods. So, how many people have ever seen or been in a Christian Science reading room? Oh, yeah, maybe a third of the folks. It's like a little library, isn't it? Uh, and Christian Science became a great publisher. The Christian Science Monitor has won a number of awards just for their reporting. So, it's hard to tell the size of Christian Science. We think, but we're not sure. We think they have about 400 to 500 churches. And the reason it's hard to say is when they report their results, they claim all their reading rooms as churches. So if you count the reading rooms and the churches, it's around 900. And then in 1926, Ernest Holmes, the religious science. They've been changing their names a few times, so the latest name is the Center for Spiritual Living. And Ernest Holmes was a student of Mary Baker Eddy's, and he really liked the information. He just wanted it to be a little bit more of scientific. So they have about 400 churches throughout the country. And then in 1889, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore started the Unity movement. It started out as a just kind of a prayer circle. And so what happened is letters prayer requests would come in from all over the country, actually all over the world, and they would meet once a week at 10 o'clock at night in Kansas City, Missouri, and they would pray for all these prayer requests. And then everybody said to Charles and Myrtle, "Hey, we're farmers. 10 o'clock's pretty late," so they moved it to 9 o'clock. And uh, Unity has about 650 churches uh, worldwide, but mostly in the United States. I think we have 37 churches in Canada and in Africa. And this is a great story. Charles Fillmore loved technology, and when radio stations came into, for some reason, they had great transmissions to Ghana, Africa. So really not much in the way of any unity churches in Africa other than Ghana, and Ghana's got a ton of them. So how did they get going on that one? Because Myrtle Fillmore was really well educated for a woman in 1880. She went to Oberlin College, got a bachelor's degree, a teaching degree. Uh, Charles Fillmore was kind of self-educated, was just a huge. Did it go? Oh, thank you. So, is that on? Yay! So, Myrtle was diagnosed with tuberculosis. She was told that she had about 2 to 3 months to live. And so she and Charles were going to hear different speakers, different New Thought speakers about what they could do to cure her tuberculosis. They went to see a gentleman named E.B. Weeks in Chicago. And he just really inspired them both, but especially Myrtle. And one of the sentences that he taught Myrtle in particular was, "I am a child of God, and therefore it's not possible for me to inherit illness or injury." And then so she started saying that. She changed it slightly, and she said, "I'm a child of God, and therefore rain can't affect me." And so she said that every day, that I'm a child of God, and therefore I can't possibly inherit illness or injury. She said that every day, multiple times a day, for 2 years. And she had only been given 2 to 3 months to live. And lo and behold, I mean, at the end of the 2 years, she was pronounced clean of tuberculosis. And by the way, I mean, 1880s, I mean, that was just an amazing miracle. Now, Charles was the analytical one of the bunch, and he wasn't sure that he really believed in affirmations and all that. He just thought that was a little woo-woo. But at the age of 8, Charles had fallen through the ice in a lake by a lake where he lived, and he had damaged his hips severely, had hurt the socket, so that leg stopped growing. So as an adult, one leg was 4 inches shorter than the other. But he thought, well, why not? Saw the stuff with Myrtle. He couldn't deny it, so he said, let's give it a shot. And so what did he say? For the next 60 years, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. Yeah, you've probably heard that in some of the songs here at Unity. And what he said is, there's no health challenge too big for God. So, yeah, he kept saying that. And there must have been something special about the 2 year mark, because at the end of 2 years, the leg that had not grown for 30 or 40 years was almost the same length as the other one. It had been 4 inches shorter, and now it's 3.5 inches. It had grown 3.5 inches. It was a half inch shorter. So I'm bringing that up mostly to say there's some things in this old world that we can't explain. And I think that the people who are analytical, scientific, engineering types. By God, I have a good education. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think that's great. But we are, if you're of that type, which frankly, that's my inclination too. I what that says is pay attention to evidence. And if you're seeing some healings occur, huh? You can't say, well, that evidence I'm not going to pay any attention to. I'm only going to pay attention to this evidence over here. Bring it all in. Yeah, decide what it is you're going to do with it all. So I think that what came out of that was that Myrtle seemed to be the one more associated with healing out of the two co-founders. And if you take a look in our library here or just online, you can see a number of books associated or ascribed to Myrtle Fillmore that surround healing. And take a look at them. She was a good writer and has lots of good stuff. Uh, on the day that Myrtle passed away at age 86, she was not in ill health. But she decided, apparently, that she was going to pass away that day. And so, back at Unity Village, what she did was she went around and said goodbye to all of the. She just sort of bid them adieu. She said she was leaving now, and she said her phrase was she was taking her leave, and she simply thought it was time to go home to God. And then she passed away that day, not an injury, not an illness, just thought that it was time. And then I already mentioned what Charles had said. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, and I spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that need to be done by me. And he said that every day for years, for decades and decades. And at age 94, when he passed away, he was not in ill health. And that was what he said on his deathbed, that he's fairly sizzled with zeal and enthusiasm. Now, so it brings us to kind of the topic of affirmations. And so I wanted to spend just a minute on affirmations. We may know those terms, affirmations, and it's making positive statements about whatever you choose to make them about your prosperity situation, about your health and healing situation. But what needs to precede affirmations is a phrase that doesn't get quite as much attention within the Unity movement, which is denials. And Myrtle used denial first before she used her affirmations. A denial is not saying, well, I'm going to pretend something doesn't exist. I'm going to deny its existence. That was not the meaning of a denial at all. A denial instead meant, I'm going to deny that this condition, this situation, has any power over my life. That was the denial. It wasn't denying that something that was obviously true, I was going to pretend it was not true anymore. And so, what happened for Myrtle was her denials took the form of apologies. She apologized to the different parts of her body she said, I misused you, and I don't want to do that anymore, and I'm going to deny that this appearance of illness, this appearance of tuberculosis, has any power over me. So she started with those kinds of denials, and then she moved to affirmations. And the affirmations: I'm a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit illness or injury. And what she said, and what makes a great deal of sense, is, yeah, affirmations by themselves, yeah, they might work. But denials, first of all, make a great deal of sense. And the reason they make a great deal of sense is if you don't deny that something has any power over you, then what you're doing is just building on a shaky foundation. You may have some good stuff happening to you, but it's on this really weak foundation because there's still some of that really negative stuff buried deep down inside. So that would be my invitation to you. If you'd like to play around with that idea of affirmations, use denials first. Use a denial that says, I deny that this health condition, this financial condition, this relationship condition has any power over me. Start with the denials and then move to the affirmations. And as a matter of fact, to get more specific, and what Myrtle suggested was use the denial first. Just sit with it. Just see how it feels. Just sit with that for a while. And then move to the affirmation. And then when you move to the affirmation after you've stated it, just sit with it for a while. See how it feels. Now, if denials and affirmations are not your thing, what I would say is, what do you have to lose? I mean, and there is an answer to that about what you have to lose. What you have to lose are injuries, illnesses, a bad financial situation, a poor relationship situation. But even if it didn't seem to work for you, the whole point of it is, can you just can you just catch a snippet of faith? Can you just believe for a second? Because if you can just believe for a second, God does the rest of the way. So, you were given, when you came in, hopefully, a thing that says when an illness or injury is serious. And it, does anybody need one? Okay, one up here. Anybody else need it? And I'm just going to invite you to take a peek at it. So this is some steps based on the work of. I left out an L. It's Cheryl Richardson. Apparently, I put Sherry Richardson. Cheryl, and I thought she has great stuff when it comes to healing and injury or illness. The first one says, jot down who gives me support and comfort in my life. Call them. Get re-involved with them. They bring you comfort. And then who makes me feel small and unimportant? Discard them. Because you've got a serious illness or serious injury. That's what this is about. And third, what steps, what things do you do that make your body feel better? Do them. Um, let's just move into a meditation for just a minute. So I invite you to close your eyes. So I invite you just to take a nice place in your body. It's in your body where you feel pain. Just check it off. Know that it's there. Brain. And imagine moving that to the places that you just noted that might have an injury or a pain or a little illness. And imagine those cells. Imagine that part of your body alive with this bright light. Just bathe that part of. See, and I use the white light.
Called Listen to the Music, and it may be familiar to a lot of harmony and melody and rhythm. It
Making